Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me today, it is Mr. Flyperbole himself. That's right, it's Steve Jaco. What's going on, Steve?
Bill, I'm just looking forward to a great performance from Ivan Fedotov today.
You know,
the Flyers, shutout. I'm calling it right now.
You know, we do have a little bit of a special pregame today. We're gonna have an interview with Sam Nestler from DLLS and their Stars show coming up in a little bit. So we'll be getting to that. But yeah, it's two teams in different places. You know, we're gonna do something similar tomorrow for the Chicago game. And like when I talk to the guys from CHGO, I'm like, this is, you talk to DNVR, you talk to Dallas, and it's like, what's that like, man? I bet you're having fun. You know, you talk to the CHGO guys, I'm like, now you're frustrated with Sam Bedard.
Oh, with Chicago.
Sam Bedard. With Connor Bedard.
Connor Bedard.
Like,
we all know Sam Bedard.
Yes,
Connor's
of course.
brother
Yeah.
is a screw up. But, with CHGO, like, you guys are Spider-Man pointing at each other right there.
Like,
with Dallas, it's like, hi.
They're to the part. I was like, I said to him, like, I'm wondering, do we get there next year with Mishkov? Like, all right. Last year he was untouchable. This year I'm a little mad. Like, that's where they are with Connor Bedard. Like, all right, I see where you're coming from. But talking to the Dallas guys, so how fun was that Mikko Rantanen stuff? I bet you had a good time. So contending for the cup, is that fun?
We were just talking about this.
It's just been so long.
We were just talking about this before we went on. It's like, how many big moments in our podcasting career at this point can we think about for the Flyers where you're like on the edge of your seat, like, oh, something exciting is happening. And the only thing I could really think of was like Shea Weber, and they didn't even get him.
Yeah, it was just a fun week where we thought we were going to get him. That's like that offseason. I think Ray Emery, Vinny LeCavalier, and Sam Morin were all the same offseason. And that was just like being mad. It wasn't fun. It was just being mad.
Risto was a pretty big trade.
Yeah, exactly. Thinking Chuck Fletcher ruined the BSH draft party because it was like, all right, well, we traded our first, and it's for someone no one wanted.
He did ruin it.
Signing JVR, is that like our biggest free agents?
Like, we're at the point right now where, like, I did a Friday night podcast talking about if John Tortorella might leave in a year. Like, that's where we're at right now. Like, that's the big thing to talk about. It's like, could the coach leave eventually? I don't know.
Is he coming back? Probably. Okay.
Yeah.
It's been rough, but here we are. 12 games remaining after today, only 11. And just little lineup note, like you noticed, or like you mentioned, Ivan Fedotov, 920 save percentage, 207 goals against in March. He gets the start today, and that's the only lineup note. Who's to say? It could
920 save
happen.
Percentage. Dallas sucks. Come on, we're getting this.
That's, I was joking with the guy from DLLS, like, Flyers Stars, this is basically just as big as Birds Boys. It's basically the same rivalry. A little bit different today. A couple of things I wanted to get to just with the lineup. Fedotov starting. He's been better recently. We'll see if he can keep it up. Are you starting to think maybe there's something a little more there with Ivan Fedotov? Like, maybe he's not terrible. Like, maybe he could be a 900 backup for a decent enough team.
Right. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to think about that, but I also don't want to think about the Flyers running back this goaltending tandem again next year, because while it'd be great if you're doing a tank again next year, if you're actually trying to take a step forward and compete for a playoff spot, this is not really the tandem you want. Maybe Sam Ersson will get like bionic legs by then or something.
Perhaps.
I don't know. But as it stands right now, I don't want them to run this back. But at the same time, like Fedotov, if you look at him now versus like that Calgary game at the beginning of the season when he just looked like maybe the worst goaltender I've ever seen in my life, it's night and day. So he has come along, and maybe he'll be a nice backup for somebody somewhere, but probably not here.
Yeah, that's how do you find out? Like, only by playing him, and it's, so we're going to do this again? And what if
Kolosov is going to
and then what happens with the Kolosov situation? And, Charlie, we did have an interesting conversation about the complete lack of scoring lately. The Flyers are intentionally, and he talked about this on postgame as well the other night. The Flyers are intentionally like slowing it down and focusing primarily on defense. And while you see Fedotov's numbers are better, and yes, he doesn't look like the mess he was to start the season, you look at the number of shots he's faced in his last few games, like 29, 26, 20, 19, 21. Okay, it makes sense. He's not giving up a ton of goals. And, listen, he's making the saves. He could just not, and his save percentage would be terrible like Sam Erson's. But if this is how you have to play to even give yourself a chance, even if it's, he's putting up decent numbers, I don't know how you run this back. Like, if this is how you think you have to play in front of him, never scoring, and you see he's got a 920 over his last 5 games. That's great. 207 goals against. Yeah, and they've lost all but one of those games, which they won in a shootout, 1-1 through 65 minutes.
Right.
Like, you can't win even if he's giving you decent enough performances, because this is how you have to play defensively. So I don't know how you find out if there's anything else there, because you can't possibly run this back.
Right, you can't run this. I mean, you can run it back.
People
are going to have a really bad time next year if they run that back, including us. We're going to have a terrible time if they run this back. I mean, look, he seems like he's coming along all right.
Yeah.
But he's just not. Neither of these are the guy. I think we found that out, at least at this point. Like, we were kind of hoping, maybe, I don't know, Fedotov was this hidden Hasek all these years or something. Somebody who was flying under the radar, and look, he got over to the NHL and he's magically amazing. But I don't see that, because I just see too many flaws in his game ultimately to be that guy. I hope he has a nice, happy, healthy NHL career, however many years that might be, because he's almost 29 already, right?
I think 29 in November.
The age is the biggest thing for me with him. If he
was younger, he doesn't fit the timeline.
Yes.
So even if he's something, for who? To what end? So much of this season is to what end? And Ivan Fedotov, I would like to see him. It's a cool story. Like I said, if the only thing he ever did was come over for those 3 appearances last year, the movie is really good.
Yeah.
That's just as good as Invincible. It's a better film than Invincible, considerably so.
I mean, Mark Wahlberg does star in that movie. So,
am I a freaking Eagle? Not an 11-year-old Eagles fan would not have said it that way. That is my problem with that film. But we'll that's an issue for a summer show.
It's summer show. I'm in on that one though. Call me up.
We do have this interview to get to, and it's 15, 16 minutes. So hang on for that. Just real quick about Travis Konecny. Is today the day?
I hope so. It's painful at this point to watch a guy that we like so much and we know can be so good go through what he's going through. He looked like his dog was just shot in the last game.
It was a bummer.
He was not having a good time. I wasn't having a good time watching it.
I'm not even frustrated with him. I feel bad for him. Now, he has been shooting a little more. For a while, I was he's not even his shots per game were 2 or fewer in all of them, when he was averaging close to 3.5 for the first half of the season, and all of a sudden he's just not shooting. It was rough. He's getting shots. He's getting opportunities. You have to think he's going to break through, and I did really like Torts' message to TK after the game. Charlie told us last post game he saw him pull TK aside before he met with the media. What did you say to him? He said, I want you to turn that 2-on-0 with Mishkov into a breakaway. You said you ignore him and you take the puck to the net and you score the goal because that's who you are. I'd like that. I'd like that coming from the coach, being we know how good you are. Do it.
I like that Torts basically just turned into the fans in the upper bowl and told TK to shoot.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing that it's come to that with the star player and the coach, where he's just just shoot the damn puck. It's what we've all been saying to the Flyers for 15 years.
Just do what you do. Put it in the net, man. That's what I'm expecting from you, is to go do it. I like that vote of confidence from the coach, because you never know where he's going to land on some things. And we're going to do a mini pod tomorrow. It's what do you think Torts' reaction when he does pull off the Michigan's going to be like? Oh. I think there's a few options that are kind of funny, and we'll record that tomorrow. It'll drop sometime next week.
But
he could just be I don't know, TK's not good enough right now, and we need more. But it seems like he's like, I know you're good enough. I know you have it. All right.
You're good enough. You're smart enough. And gosh darn it, people like you.
Oh, we do have some lines. Jackie Spiegel just dropped them. So it's Kate Forster Brink, Coots, Mishkov, Konecny. All right. So look at that.
Let's go.
Listen, that line was effective when it was together. You could see like it was a little uncomfortable with TK and Mishkov. Like, okay, they're both trying to kind of fight to get to the right side. And but it did work. Like they had that 7-goal game. That was the Coots 5-point hat trick against Minnesota. Like we did see this line be effective.
And that setup that Mish had for TK that he didn't dunk was a great setup.
It was. We've seen them have some chemistry throughout the season. So we'll see how this goes. Paling with Tippett and Peltier. So Peltier getting some third line usage. Lixell goes to the Abels, the Laurier line, and the defense is what it is, and Fedotov and net. So those are the lines. All right, let's get to the bets. This pregame pick segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or somebody who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, Steve, just one today. Just one. And Ivan Fedotov, he has been good lately, but it's because of, I believe, how this team is playing in front of him. So under 23.5 saves is -105. I like the way he's been playing, but really, this Flyers defense has been awesome lately. Say what you will about the offense. It stinks. But they're still checking hard. They're blocking shots. They're limiting opportunities. Flyers are allowing 26.7 shots on goal per game this season. Only Florida, Vegas, Colorado, LA, and Carolina allow fewer. I just named a whole bunch of Stanley Cup contenders and then the Flyers.
You sure did.
And since the deadline, it's like 24 per game. So like this number, not too, it's, he has to allow 1 goal basically. And yeah, he still didn't hit that 24. I like it. And also, you know, the Sam Nestler interview coming up. Dallas hasn't exactly been firing on all cylinders since the deadline.
Maybe Mikko Rantanen's the problem.
He could be. They're top 10 in shots per game for the season. They're bottom 5. They're 5th from the bottom since the deadline, only 24.3 a game. Fedotov's only gone over this number in 9 of 22. So one bet, -105, but I like it today. Ivan Fedotov under 23.5 saves. All right, let's throw it now to my conversation with DLLS Stars host Sam Nestler to talk about today's game. Very excited to be bringing you a crossover with our friends at DLLS. It is Sam Nestler joining us from their Stars show ahead of this big Philadelphia-Dallas matchup. You know, it's basically like Eagles Cowboys. You know, it's got the same amount of anticipation. How you doing, Sam?
I'm fantastic. I'm a little bit jealous of that wrestling belt that you have going on there. I need to get something like that so my display looks a little better.
Oh, it's fantastic. They surprised me with it at our Christmas party show, and it was really freaking fun. You guys, I feel like having a ton of fun. The Stars, a really good team. You got DLLS just got started down there in the All-City family, and you know, not only do you have a great team, you're maybe made the headline of the year in the NHL. That's the first thing I got to ask you about is the experience of adding Mikko Rantanen, because I told you before we got started, very jealous of what the Stars have, just the team they have built and what I think they're capable of doing in these playoffs. And it's been so long since the Flyers were involved in something like big and fun, like the Mikko Rantanen trade. Just how was living through that news cycle as covering the team, a fan, whatever?
It was wild, and I'll be totally honest with you. We did not see it coming at all. I started to hear a little bit of rumblings, a week or so before that they were maybe looking at a bigger name than we anticipated. Because at first it seemed like add an extra defenseman and as a little bit of security, maybe get a third line, forward or another defenseman. Honestly, as more of a backup plan, because the Stars have just had horrible injury issues in the playoffs, and just. Someone like Jason Robertson goes quiet and all of a sudden their playoff comes to an end because they can't score enough goals to beat Edmonton. So I thought that was kind of going to be the trade deadline. And then obviously, Thursday night, right before the deadline, we started hearing some rumblings that they're in on the biggest dog of all of them. It was crazy because Jim Nils talked about it. He didn't think it was going to happen around 10, 11 a.m. He thought that that deal was done. He started looking at other things and trying to figure out what they were going to do. But it was so much fun to cover, fun to be involved in it. And then when it became final, it took a while to set in, but we realized, wow, I mean, this is one of the first superstars down here in a very long time. Really, realistically, you can look at maybe a Jason Spezza or those kind of guys, but really, in terms of a top 10 NHL player, Mikko Rantanen's the first one they've had in a very long time. And I think they needed it, especially with the superstar that this city just traded out over to LA. I know the city's been hurting for that. So the fact they bring in someone like Rantanen was really fun to be around. And what an addition to your team for the playoffs.
Yeah, it's got to be exciting. I was looking at Dallas, like, oh, maybe that's a landing spot for like Rasmus Ristolainen. Looking at their defensive issues, it's like, nah, we're getting a 50 goal scorer. We're not worried about all that. So that's got to be really cool the way it unfolded, like late at night. Oh, it's happening, and then suddenly it goes quiet, and then it's done. Like, very, very jealous. How has the Rantanen experience gone so far?
It hasn't really gone yet. I'll say that. It's been. I mean, people are freaking out already because the Stars have hit a little bit of a speed bump here, and it's not necessarily just losing a few games or anything like that. That's not the points aren't a huge deal right now, other than maybe staying ahead of Colorado and keeping a home ice advantage. But the big deal has been the way they've played lately, and it's just looked like a different team since the trade deadline. They've looked out of sync. They've looked a little sloppy, a little leaky defensively, and Rantanen falls right into that category. He came right out, scored a goal, 2 goals in his first 2 games. I think he had 4 points in his first 3 or 4 games. Yeah. So the point production was there. We saw flashes, right? We saw some of his excellent puck play along the wall, his elite shot, his skill, and his vision. There were glimpses of it. But I actually talked to Tampa Bay Lightning coach John Cooper ahead of the game last night, and he actually compared those 2 teams, saying that they're both in a spot where they have depth, they have skill, they just don't necessarily know where all the pieces go yet. And I think that's the perfect way to describe Dallas. They have one of the deepest forward groups in the NHL. Their defense is still solid, even missing their best player. They're missing Tyler Seguin still as well up front. But they just haven't figured out where things go. They don't know whether Rantanen is a fit with Hintz. They don't know whether he's a better fit with Johnston. They're still figuring those things out right now. So that's been the kind of the bump in the road, if you want to call it that. But he's also been here for like a week. He's got all the drama of the trade, the 2 trades, all the drama around going back to Colorado. He wasn't at a home for like 10 days, basically, when he first got here. He played a bunch of road games. So let the guy get here, settle in, get an apartment or a house, and then let's figure it out. I think a deep breath is needed around here right now.
And looking at like what the Stars have, obviously it's a move for this year, but you get that extension and maybe it doesn't work right away because like it's his 3rd team this season. Like he doesn't have a place to live. You have him for 8 more years after this. So it is also, you have decently young team. Moving forward, it works. But one of those young pieces that I liked a lot, bet him to win the Calder before the season, Logan Stankoven. Was there any hesitation about giving him up, at least in your eyes?
Absolutely. Jim Nils said to us, I can't remember exactly when it was, but not long. I believe it might have been the day of the Cody Ceci and Mikael Granlund trade from San Jose. He said straight up, we don't want to trade Liam Bichsel, Logan Stankoven, and Maverick Bourque. We have no interest in getting rid of those guys. They are our future, and they were basically off limits. And the only thing that made that change was the fact that Mikko Rantanen was on the other end of this deal, because Jim Nils has been huge in keeping his first-round picks, keeping his young players. Dallas has drafted so well, as you and I were just discussing before with 2017 and all these things that they've done. Like, they've done a great job with that. But at some point, you have to plan and try to win now. And that's what Jim Nils said. He said, look, we have 2 first-round picks, and we have a young player who could turn out to be a 40-goal scorer. But right now, he's struggling to score in his first full season. He's going through huge stretches in the NHL with no goals. He's a good fit in this return, and we can get someone that can change our franchise for right now and for 8 more seasons, which is just so worth what they gave. So I think Jim Nils also mentioned, I can draft for 10 more years, and I will probably not get a Mikko Rantanen. And that's as simple as you can put it. You got yourself a top 5, top 10 NHL superstar, and all you lost, all respect to Logan. He was one of my favorite players in the room. Great guy to have on the team. All you really lost is a young player that we don't really know what he's going to turn into, and a couple of picks. And I think that's just tremendous.
When you're going for it, sometimes you have to make those tough decisions. Now, we've already had the Rantanen goes back to Colorado game, but the way things are shaping up, could see 7 of them. How much are you looking forward to Rantanen versus the Avs and DLLS versus DNVR? You know, the new kids versus, you know, the company that kind of got us all started here. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, it's like we're going home to play one-on-one against our dad or something in the driveway, right? No, I'm excited for it. I think it was really big for him to go back last week. I really do, because if his whole story is dragged out and they don't get to go back there till game probably 3, but maybe even 1, depending on the seeding of the first round of the playoffs, that distraction just lingers on way too long. And that could have really had a huge effect on him and the team. So I think for him to go do it, he handled it really well. It was great to see them actually welcome him back. I had, hearing rumors people might boo him, which I just think was ridiculous. The whole drama around it, like sometimes you just have to realize these guys are human beings, and this was a business deal on both ends. And I just think that was big. But for in terms of the series, the Stars, I feel like the Western Conference is just such a nightmare. I was so excited looking at it maybe 3 weeks ago. I'm looking at the layout, and their Stars would play the Minnesota Wild, who are just a dumpster fire, falling fast, and then Winnipeg in the second round, who I still don't know how good that team really is. And they've had a lot of trouble in the playoffs. And I'm thinking, man, that's a great thing. Let Edmonton and Colorado and Vegas beat the crap out of each other down there and come play Dallas in a Western Conference final and tell me they're not going to have a chance to go to the final. Now, all of a sudden, it's completely flipped. And now Dallas is going to have to be in that part where Colorado, Winnipeg, and Dallas are going to beat the crap out of each other. And the bottom part of it, all of a sudden, Vegas doesn't look that great. Edmonton's got some injuries and they're kind of falling. And now that's the easier side. So there's no easy path. You sometimes wish that if you're finishing second in your division and 3rd overall in the NHL, that you're not playing a elite superstar Colorado Avalanche team in the first round, but you're going to have to beat good teams. And it's pretty much locked in now. It's going to be a hell of a series and a battle.
Yeah, it looks like that 2 versus 3 is going to be Dallas, Colorado, seeding still to be worked out, but it looks like that's what it's going to be. Does the format bother you? Like, it doesn't bother me because making the playoffs would be cool. And honestly, when the Flyers run into Pittsburgh in the first round, it's like dope. Like, this is going to be a fun series. Yeah. It would be nice to get an easier one, but it is what it is. Like, as covering a team that has Stanley Cup aspirations, like, is the playoff format a pain in the ass?
It is, and I don't necessarily think it's wrong. I'm kind of in between on board. It doesn't sound like it's changing anytime soon from what we hear from the GM meetings and all these things going on. So I'm not fully against it. I'm not fully for it and this isn't just because I work for the Stars or I cover the Stars or anything like that. It really isn't. It's just, I believe teams should have a reason to work hard in the regular season. And right now the Stars have no reason to try to finish above 3rd in the division in the regular season. They just don't. And realistically, you can argue they have a reason not to. They have a reason to go down and drop into a wild card to try to get an easier matchup. And that's just stupid. So I think that the 1 through 8, the positive of the 1 through 8 is that, if you have a great regular season and you go out and you get 100 points, you're going to get a decent first round game. There's no easy teams to play in the playoffs of the 16 teams, but you're telling me you could either go against Colorado or Calgary in your first round. And for Dallas specifically, as I just mentioned earlier, they have hit the wall the last couple of years, big time. And that, I believe, is because they've played those series. They play Vegas, they play Colorado, they play Edmonton. They're playing all the best teams. They basically played 3 Western Conference finals last year, straight up. And that I believe is not fair, just because it doesn't reward you for having a great regular season, which what's the point of playing 82 games then? Play 20 and seed them and let's go in the playoffs if that's the case.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like, it's such a long season. What's the point then? But It doesn't sound like the format is changing anytime soon. A couple more minutes here with Sam Nestler, our colleague over at DLLS here on PHLY Flyers pregame. Sam, I read your colleague Sean Shapiro's piece on the team's leadership after the Lightning game, which apparently was a debacle. I want to know if you felt like the Stars leaders have been coming up short recently as well.
You know what? I think it's an interesting question because Sean's a very passionate guy, and he was around this team for a very long time. He knows people very well, and he's a strong believer in Jamie Benn as a very good leader, except for what he does in the media, and that is both his very short, non-informative interviews that he gives, but also, the Vegas one when he injures Mark Stone and he just leaves and drives away in his car and doesn't stay for media. I think Sean's a big believer in taking responsibility and taking ownership. And I know that last night, I think we ended up interviewing 2 rookies after that loss. And to be honest, that loss wasn't, to us, it didn't feel like it was one of those big, wow, coach is going to come in here furious, until maybe they lost it in the shootout. And then it was like, that's probably frustrating. But really, the last 2 weeks, they haven't been playing very well. So this could have happened at any point. So to us, it wasn't like we need to get Jamie Benn in there because they're going to be really frustrated. He needs to take ownership. That's kind of the side that I'm on there. But the big missing piece, they don't have Tyler Seguin. And Tyler Seguin is 100% the Robin to Jamie Benn's Batman. It's cliche, but he really is. He's the one who takes ownership in the media. He's the one who's really good at speaking to people and maybe calming things down when Jamie's, going 120%. Jamie is the captain and the unquestioned leader of this team, but he needed the Tyler Seguins and the Joe Pavelskis and those other type of players to bring that other side of it. And right now he doesn't have it. And I think that's what we're seeing. And that's what Sean's trying to drive home.
That's whenever I think of Benn, it's not Jamie Benn. It's always Benn and Seguin. Like I think of them as like a pair. Those two are the guys there, at least in terms of that veteran leadership. And when I saw he was going to be out for 6 months or whatever it was, that's a rough injury to lose, especially the amount of money he makes and all that. But Dallas still one hell of a team. Looking forward to watching them in the postseason, Sam. But just one more question, a little bigger picture thing. How would you feel about an expansion team in Houston? You have those neighbors. We're hearing 34, maybe 36 teams. We know the NHL has been interested in Houston. It came up on 32 Thoughts today. How would you like that geographical rival right there?
I would love it in terms of Houston. I don't know if I love the 36 teams. I think that at some point we're going to have 60 teams and you're going to play 150 games a year. I'm not a big fan of too many teams, but I will say in terms of Houston, Dallas has the worst travel in the NHL. It's a nightmare. Their closest cities are like Chicago and Minnesota and Denver, the easiest trips that they make. And that's just crazy to think. So pretty much every game for Dallas on the road is a nightmare travel wise. So for them to have even just one team that's down the road, I mean, that's I don't even know, 2-hour drive, 2.5-hour drive, maybe from here. You can get a quick flight or you can take a bus or whatever it might be. It'd be really cool to have fans collide a little bit. And I think it builds the sport in Texas because Dallas has built an amazing fan base. They just announced 100 straight sellouts. Every night at the arena is amazing, which is crazy to think of down in Texas, right? But It's an amazing, passionate fan base, but it's a small one. It's probably the 20,000 or the 18,000 that are at the arena and a handful of others that watch at home, and that's it. And I think bringing a team to Houston expands that vastly. You get now all of a sudden maybe a few more people down in Austin that can go see an NHL team that's a little closer than Dallas, because right now they have the Texas Stars that are in Austin or in Cedar Park. So it just builds the sport down here, and the sport is growing rapidly. So I think it would be great to have a team in Houston, and I believe there would be some very fun rivalries, because right now the Stars rivalries, maybe Edmonton, you can maybe say Vegas, but they don't have a really intense rivalry right now. That's an automatic one when you get an in-state.
No, the games you can drive to when you can go to the other team, whether it's, Pittsburgh's a bit of a drive, but the Rangers, the Devils, like those games, they're just more fun for us. And thinking about that Dallas, like, oh yeah, Winnipeg's in that, they're in the same division, and like, look at a map. Like, oh, crazy. That makes sense. This is probably real easy for a 7-game series.
The Stars used to be in the Pacific Division.
Yeah.
They used to play San Jose 7 times a year. So this is better, I guess, but not by much.
All right, Sam, thank you very much for joining us. That's Sam Nestler of DLLS. Make sure you check them out as well, because all of our All-City colleagues do outstanding work, especially in the hockey space. Thanks for joining us, Sam.
Thanks a lot.
That was Sam Nestler of DLLS. Thanks a lot for joining us for that little pregame conversation. Thanks for hanging out with us here on Pregame, because that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers pregame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll be back with postgame as soon as this thing goes final. Follow us right here on YouTube. Set that reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Follow us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. It's where I do all my in-game tweeting. And follow the podcast as well. Wherever you get those, just search PHLY Flyers. That's it for us. I'm Bill Matz. That's Steve Jaco. Until postgame, roll on tank.
Tank.
We all silly like the mayor.